Okay, so anyways, we're going to be going over a series called Glorifying God Through Our Lifestyles. Okay? And so what we mentioned earlier during the seminar workshop presentations was that this church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, is everyone here a part of the Seventh-day Adventist Church? Is there anybody that, it's okay if you're not a part of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, but everyone here belongs to it? Okay? So that helps. You know, if you're not an Adventist, it's okay to be here. You know, hope that through the things that you've learned, that you would choose to join the Adventist Church. But a lot of amazing things that God has blessed His church with. And I would just want to give you a little background of who I am and how I became impressed with the Adventist message. Do I need to use this microphone? No? I do? You are? Is it already on? Hello? Hello? Okay. Is that better? That way you can hear me and not worry about the fan. I would like to share with you before we go into our first topic today how I became an Adventist and how I became interested in the health message and why I even wanted to go, why I wanted to be a physician. My name is Jason Shives. I'm 30 years old. I just turned 30 last month. I'm half Filipino. I'm half white. I was born to a 4'9" Filipino woman and a 6'2" Americano. Right? And 1980. And during that time, my parents were not Adventists. Actually, there was no real religion involved in my family. There was 5 children in our family. I had 2 older sisters and I had 2 younger brothers. And we lived overseas. We lived in Philippines. I was born in Olongapo on Subic Bay Naval Air Station. Lived there for 3 years. And then after that, we moved to Japan. Lived there for some time in the States, back and forth. We would always come to the Philippines in the summer to visit our family. My mother's family is from Samar, Leyte, Kapulungan. And so we'd go there and just visit them maybe once a year. And my mother had family that were Adventists, but I never knew what an Adventist was. My parents didn't go to church. When I was old, my 2 older sisters used to take us to church. One week we'd go to the Catholic church, the next week we'd go to the Protestant church, whatever, Church of God. And I believed in God. I knew there was really a God. But my parents didn't really want anything to do with it because my dad was a Marine. He talks a lot about the Marines. He thought being a Christian was weak. You're submitting to someone. You need to take care of yourself. That was his mindset. My mom thought that there was too many rules, specifically her family. She had family that were Adventists. Like, you can't wear this, and you can't eat this, and you can't do this on Saturdays, and all these things. She's like, I don't want anything to do with that. So my whole life, I grew up not knowing what an Adventist was until we moved to Florida. I was about to start my freshman year of high school. I was about to turn 14. And some things happened in our lives, and my dad will talk about that tomorrow with my mom and go into a lot of the details. But basically, the Lord turned our lives upside down to the point now. My mom's idea of spirituality was she had this little Buddha statue, and she would line us kids up, and she would play bingo, and she said, rub my statue so that I will win mahjong and bingo. That was what spirituality was to her. My mom was a very secular woman, a very worldly person. My dad was a hard worker. My dad would come home late at night, and my mom would be up until 2, 3 in the morning playing games, gambling, using the money my dad had worked for. They were fighting all the time. Through some miracles, my mom became convicted that she needed to give her heart to God. And she started feeling very uneasy and very just a need. And there was I don't want to get too much of the story because it's really but to make a long story short, we were invited to an evangelistic series. We went to a prophecy seminar, and I had gone to different churches my whole life. Even though my parents wouldn't go, I'd go to church with my friends. I had friends that were religious. I remember I used to pray to my grandfather. My grandfather had passed away. He was one of my best friends. And I prayed to him. He was my angel watching over me. I didn't know when the Bible said what happened when he died. And I remember when we went to the prophecy seminar, they gave us a Bible, and they were so friendly to us, and they showed us, all the truths from the pig, he doesn't want to eat crabs, and all these things. Wow, that's amazing. It's great. I remember going back to school, and I was at a public high school and not at a Christian school, and I remember you used to eat pepperoni pizza every day. And that's pork. I guess I can't eat that. And I immediately had a lot of friends because I would always give my pepperonis away. And I'd have to eat some of them, and all of a sudden, I became very popular. But I started, we joined the church, and I started thinking, I started praying about it. I really didn't. My mind was connected, and I understood that the Adventist church was the right church, but I didn't really give my heart to Christ. And so over time, I started to fall away from the things that I believed in. And I remember when I started medical school. My diet was, I did a lot of lifting weights. I was on the gymnastics team, and I started dating my wife. Now she's downstairs. She was born in an Adventist, raised a vegetarian. My dad became a vegetarian because he met some friends in the Adventist church that encouraged him to eat healthier. He wanted to be healthier, but he didn't really force us to do that. So my mom and the rest of us kids, we just continued to eat meat. And my mom would cook vegetarian food for him. We would eat food, and she would sneak us chicken, and try not to keep it for my dinner. And I remember when I was in college, I was trying to be really strong and lift weights and be really big because we were pressing girls up, and maybe I'll show you some pictures, but I think it's right. I could hold my wife on top of my head, she'd be standing on my hand. So we did these kind of things in college. I'm not as big anymore. I do those things. I spend more time reading than exercising. But anyways, what my lunch would be like is I remember I would go to do you guys know what a Burger King is? Or I guess it's like a Jolly King here. You have Burger King here. Okay, I remember when I came here before they didn't have that. They had McDonald's and Burger King. I'd go to, my diet would consist of going to Burger King and ordering 5 Whoppers, 3 Whoppers, you know what a Whopper is? No bread, just the meat and the cheese, nothing else. And I'd sit there and eat it. Just get the protein and and then I would do that 5 times, 4 times, 5 times a day. And I had no fat, I was very strong, and I thought I felt good. When I got to medical school, my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, she was always telling me, you really need to eat healthier, you're going to be a doctor. I said, no, it's okay, it's you guys heard of the Atkins diet? It's a high protein, high fat, it keeps you thin. I think it's okay, I'm young, it doesn't make a difference. And so these Adventists, most of these Adventists, they're vegetarians, they're so thin, and they look like they're weak, they're about to die anyway. And I was like, I don't want to be like that. I remember I went to the first year of medical school, we had to draw blood for each other. We had to practice drawing blood. In nursing school, you do that here? You practice drawing blood. When they draw the blood, then they analyze the blood. And I was like, healthy, I run, I exercise every day. And I remember getting my cholesterol back. And I had one of the highest cholesterols in my class, way over 200. And I was 22 years old. And I was like, wow. And it said danger. And I remember reading the 2/3 of heart attacks in this country occur in your range, 1/3 occur below you. So I was in a range where people were having heart attacks below me. I was like, oh, this is not good. What am I doing? And I started thinking, man, maybe I need to listen to my wife. Well, anyways, to make a long story short, I started thinking, and at this time, remember, I had turned my back on God somewhat. My girlfriend at the time and I, we weren't going to church that often. We were living together. We weren't studying our Bibles. For me to be up here preaching to you and talking to you, there would be no way. For me to go to church, that would be a miracle. God has changed my heart, changed my life. And I want to share with you some of the reasons. And I remember, do you guys know Michael Tuazon? He's one of the presenters. He was a friend of mine when I was going through the struggle. He gave me a book, and it was called The Lucifer Diary. You guys ever heard of that book? It's a book it's basically like a great controversy, but it's told from the perspective of Satan. What was Satan thinking when he changed the minds of the people through the flood? What was Satan thinking when he was confused, when he was trying to get people to build the Tower of Babel? And I was like, wow, this is interesting. Maybe it's real. It's called The Lucifer Diaries by a man. If you haven't read it, it's an amazing book. And we read that, and I started thinking about spiritual things. I remember, do you guys celebrate Thanksgiving here? Thanksgiving? No? In America, we have this holiday. It's November, the last later part of November, where we give thanks to God for all our blessings. And usually we eat a turkey. It's a big celebration. You have a turkey or ham. And since I was an Adventist, I didn't eat ham, I had a turkey. And I remember every year, we'd always have this. And I remember thinking, God, He's been working on my heart. I saw my cholesterol, and my wife is always nagging me, stop, why don't you eat healthier? And I started thinking, well, maybe, God, if you show me a sign, I'll change. You got to show me a sign. When we were young Christians, we need these signs, So I said, God, show me a sign. And one of my big complaints about being a vegetarian was that the vegetarian meat substitutes, they cost too much. I can go to McDonald's and get a hamburger for 99 cents. But this fake meat is so expensive, I can't afford it. So I remember I prayed a prayer, and it was right before Thanksgiving. And I remember thinking, okay, well, and I totally forgot about it. It's been like 2 weeks. Then I went to the market. I don't know, it's called, in Loma Linda University, they have this market. It's a health food store. And I walked in, and I remember I was going to go buy, even though I wasn't a vegetarian, I still ate some vegetarian meats every once in a while, And I remember I was going to go buy a vegetarian patty. And I remember looking, the store was almost closed, right? And I walk in the back, and there's all these little Korean women. And they're so excited, and they have their grocery carts, and they're pushed up. And I was like, wow, what's going on? And they're yelling, wow, what's going on? It's, the freezer cooler where all the vegetarian meats are at. So I walked over, and I was like, I'm asking them, what's going on? And they're trying to push me away, and I look, and they're taking all this vegetarian meat, they're throwing it in their carts, the little shopping cart. And I looked, and they said, the one woman was like, it's amazing, there's an amazing sale going on. And for some reason, I talked to the lady at the front, the cashier. It's like, what's going on? She's like, it's kind of the computer messed up. The vegetarian meat, usually it's $5. So I guess that's the equivalent of, for one box, it's what, 250 pesos for a box? It's on sale for 20 pesos, like that. When it was $5, it was basically on sale for 30 cents. I was like, what? They said, it's an error, we did something wrong, and since it's there, we have to honor it. And so all these Korean women are, they're trying to get a good deal. And it's like 75% off plus $1 off, and it equals 25 cents. It's like, wow! So I got my cart, and I started loading up. I filled my whole cart up. I spent $30. 25 cents, imagine that. 25 cents per box, $30, that's a lot. And I got home, I couldn't fit all the vegetarian meat inside my freezer, so I had to take all the real meat out. And I was like, I threw it away. I was like, oh God, this is a sign. And I couldn't even fit it all in. I had to take it out of the box and stick it in one at a time. It looked like a stack of coins all the way across. And I knew it was a sign from God that He wanted me to try this vegetarian thing. Okay. And so to make a long, and then that was right before Thanksgiving. And I remember my wife asking me, so what do you want to make a turkey? I was like, no. I think I'm going to try to be a vegetarian now. I'll try it for a month. And that month has become 7 years. And so I'm still there. So anyways, we are all on a different walk. Eating meat, I don't believe, is a sin. Jesus ate fish. Jesus ate meat. But God has given us information in these last days to help His remnant church. And I mentioned before, like in our presentation, there are a large population in our world that are vegetarians that don't even know who Jesus Christ is. When people think of Christians in the United States, they think of people that smoke, don't take care of themselves. Sometimes they drink alcohol, they hunt, they shoot animals. There's people in our country that are animal rights activists. They don't want to eat meat because they feel like the animals are their friends. Or they don't want to eat meat because they want to protect the environment. And some people, it's their family members. They believe that's their resurrected family members. And so when they hear that, when I tell people I'm a Christian, like, oh yeah, but I said, no, I'm a vegetarian. Like, wow, really? I fly on airplanes a lot. I've found that I'm able to connect with people that I might not have been able to just because I tell them I'm a vegetarian. Because in our country, I don't know what it's like here, but in the United States, it's becoming very pluralistic. A lot of different religions are starting to come in. A lot of Buddhists, a lot of Hindus, and it's amazing. So what I'd like to share with you guys today is some of the things that I've kind of studied over my time. And if you are in a position to give health lectures yourself, I know there may be many of you here that maybe already know a lot of these things. I encourage you, be willing to share this with your church. You know, if you want to give me your email address, I'll email you these presentations and you can do them yourself. You know, you can even change your name to your name, you know. This is the truth. It's not my truth, it's God's truth, amen? Okay, so why don't we go and start off. The first thing I want to do is I want to have you take a test. Did you bring a pencil? What I'd like, do I have my PA here? Do I have JD, Joseph Dean? Is he here? No? Aha, there he is. Joseph, can you pass these papers up? Does everyone have a piece of paper? Okay then. I don't think it's not yet. Okay. Does anybody need a piece of paper? Okay, great. One of you guys just give them a piece and just hand it to them? Is that okay? And I have one pen if you can share. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quiz to determine, based on your current lifestyle, what is your expected life expectancy. Okay? How long should you be able to live based on your lifestyle? So how healthy am I? Okay? I've given this talk several times. It's pretty fun. Some people have. And I usually, for the person that lives the longest, hey Dad, can you do me a favor? Back in our room, in my suitcase, the green suitcase, there's a bunch of books in there. There's like several creation health books. They're white books. Would you mind grabbing a few of those? The person that lives the longest, and you have to be honest, okay? The person that lives the longest, and also the person that lives the least, I usually give them a prize. To reward those that are making good choices, and then to educate those that are making bad choices, amen? Okay? So, okay, here we go. So, this is based on health principles, okay? Now, if you are, we'll just state this. We start. The average Filipino citizen, you guys know, if you are born and you live past the first year, what is the average life expectancy of an average Filipino? Do you guys know? Okay, I hear 60. What else? 70? Okay, that's very close, actually. The average life expectancy for an American in the United States is 79. In the Philippines, it's 71. Females live about 3 years longer. It's about 74 years for females and about 68 years for males. Okay? So, if you're a man, write down 68 at the top. And I'm just going to, if you're not of a Filipino background, just use 70, that's fine. I gave this talk in Ghana and Nigeria as well, and also in the States, but most of us are somewhere, just start right there, okay? Right about 70 or so. And if you're a male, subtract, then it'll all come together at the end. Okay, so you guys got your number down? Ready to go? Okay. So just start off with this is your life expectancy, okay? If you lived a normal, regular Filipino life, that's how old you're going to live, okay? But now we're going to start adding and subtracting years based upon certain lifestyle factors, okay? You ready? All right. Okay, so number one, your stress level. Okay, so we have found that stress is a major indicator of longevity. If you describe this normal amount of stress in your life as, you know what, I have no stress in my life. Or, you have stress, but you just know how to deal with it, so you don't think it's stressful. Add 1 year. So underneath your 70 or whatever it is, put a +1, which is +1. If you have a mild amount of stress, just put a 0. I have a stressful life, but I can deal with it. If you're a high stress, I can't get any sleep at night. I'm constantly stressed out. I don't know what I'm going to do. -1, okay? If you're constantly in stress, you have no peace. Even your Sabbath is, you have the stress that passes all understanding. -3, all right? You guys got it? Any questions there? Feel free. If you want to talk back, this is a class. Feel free to talk back and forth. Okay, so that's the first one. Next, how many hours of sleep do I get each night? Okay, so if I sleep less than 6 hours of every night, let's say I'm going to bed at midnight, and I'm waking up at 5:30, something like that, -2. If you sleep 6 to 7 hours a night, put a 0. That's what most people are sleeping. If you sleep 7 to 8 hours a night, so put a +1. That is the recommended average for people that are above the age of 18. Now listen, if we have anybody here that's a teenager, your recommended hours of sleep is 8 to 9. So put a +1. If you're 18 and younger, if you sleep, then that's a +1 for you if you sleep 8 to 9. Because you need more sleep because you're still growing. But if you're over 18 and you sleep 8 to 9 hours, you put a 0. And if you're sleeping more than 9 hours, okay, if you're sleeping all the time, you know, you're just always sleeping, -2. Okay. There's many good things God has given us, but we can't have too much of a good thing. Does that make sense? Nakakaintindi? Okay. All right, here we go. Education level. Okay, so if you've only done grade school, -2. High school, -1. The highest level you've attained. If you have some college, 0. If you finish college, or if you intend to finish college. Okay, so some of you are in college right now. If you're intending to finish college, +1, or if you have a skilled trade. So you have something where you're actually, people pay money because of a skill that you have. Okay, +1. And they've done this. They've done scientific research on all the things that have been shown to improve longevity. Okay. Smoking. If you've never smoked before, +1. If you smoked greater than 10 years, but then you quit, this is amazing. The science is out there. If you smoke, it's about 40 to 50 years old. If you're 40 and below, and you smoke, let's say you smoke from the age of 20 to 40, but you quit and you stay quit for more than 10 years, your lungs, God has given us the ability, given our lungs the ability to heal almost as if you've never smoked it before. Okay? Once you start getting older, the damage is harder to repair because our cells don't turn over as much. But greater than, if you've smoked and you've quit smoking for more than 10 years, +1, less than 10 years is 0. If you have a lot of friends, or your husband or your wife, or they smoke and you're always around them, that's a -1. Secondhand smoke. You smoke 1 pack per day, -3, and 2 packs per day is -5. I don't know if this, most people I guess here don't smoke, so I think this is, okay, daily alcohol intake. If you don't drink any alcohol at all, that's +1. If you have the equivalent, the average Filipino, the average American drinks about 1 glass a day over the average of the population. Adventists are a little different, okay, so you get a +1 if you don't drink. 2 drinks, -1. 3 drinks, -2, all the way down. No cheating, okay? Okay, body size. If you would be classified as an athletic build, okay, so this is based on something called a BMI. You guys know what a BMI is? Okay, body mass index, okay? So basically what you do is you take, it's your height in squared divided by your weight in kilograms, okay? That number. Okay, so it's meters squared over kilograms. Basically, in a nutshell, if you don't want to do it, it's if you're very fat, very fat, you have a hard time fitting. Like if you're riding in I don't mean to make fun of anybody, but if you can't fit in the chair, -3. Okay. If you have a hard time putting your jeans on, -2. If you're overweight, maybe you're just a little overweight, -1. Your average weight, 0. If you exercise regularly, you're running a lot, you're exercising, that's a +2. If you're a thin build, that's +1. A okay? You got that? Sounds good? Science has shown that if you exercise a lot, even if you're a bodybuilder, the people that live the longest have a slender build. They're not thin, okay? What is that? My mom used to call it payato. What does that mean? Thin? Yeah, okay. My sister was payato, and I was mataba. Right? That means fat, right? When I was young, I was pretty fat. But anyways, thanks. But the bigger you are, like if you take an X-ray, in our country, people will say, "Oh, it's because I have big bones." Your bones don't grow that big. It's all the things around your bones. Okay? Because what happens is that for every pound of fat you add to your body has to add a mile of blood vessels. That's what's a mile? That's what? 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers, right? Of blood vessels. And all those blood vessels, your heart has to squeeze blood to that. And so your heart has to work harder. The more, it's kind of an average, but the faster your heart beats over your life, the sooner it dies. It's like when you're driving your motorcycle and you're constantly throttling it, and it's your engine will eventually, will it last a long time or will it die sooner? It'll die sooner, right? Same thing with your heart. So those people that exercise often, if you check their pulse is low. It's like 50, 40. Some of the best athletes, like they did you guys remember Michael Jordan when he was a basketball player? They checked his pulse was like 35 a minute. Lance Armstrong, you guys know Lance Armstrong? He's a bicyclist, Tour de France. His was like 30, 35 when he's resting. Mine's like 50, 50. You know, the average, in our country, the average is, just check your pulse. What you need to do, just real quick. This is a good way to check your pulse. Find your pulse here. See if you can find it. This is an easy place to find your pulse. Okay, so you guys feel it beating? Okay, I'm going to count for 15 seconds, okay? So when I say start, I want you to start counting, okay? When I say stop, stop, okay? For 15 seconds. All right, on your mark, get set, go. Start counting. Stop. Times that number by 4. Times that number you got by 4, and that's your pulse. That's your heart rate, your resting heart rate. Exactly. That's your resting heart rate. If your resting heart rate is less than 60, you're athletic. Okay? If it's above 60, you need to start working out more, exercising more. Okay? Okay, there we go, you guys. Any questions there? You got it? Okay, here we go. Let's keep going. Okay, exercise level. If you exercise 60 minutes high intense most days, +2. 30 minutes a day, moderate intensity. So high intensity, there's light intensity. Light intensity is like walking. Okay? Now for some people, just walking, they're already sweating, they're very tired. For them, that's high intensity. Okay? For some people, walking, it's nothing. That's light. But most of us, because we're just a youth conference, walking is light intensity. Jogging is moderate intensity. Sprinting, running, swimming, shoveling, chopping wood, that's high intensity. You're working very hard, okay? Most of us as students, we don't do a lot of exercise, so if you do 60 minutes, 1 hour high intensity, most days of the week. So 7 days a week, most days is 4. 3 is less, right? So if you do at least 4 days a week, 60 minutes, high intensity for 60 minutes, +2. 30 minutes, moderate intensity, +1. 0. Just to get 0, you have to do 20 minutes, 3 to 5 days a week, moderate intensity. If you don't do any exercise, -2. All right, you guys got that? Any questions? Okay, health checkups. How often do you see your doctor? How often do you get your health checked? Okay? There's some people are like, I don't go to the doctor unless I'm sick. Or I don't, and for many of you, it would be, let's say this.